Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Wednesday. My thought for you this afternoon is since we're at that time, and I kind of like this time. Someone earlier today was complaining that it was raining again, and I don't mind, right? I don't mind rainy October days. But it's that time when, leaves are falling from the trees, and it just occurred to me that we don't do enough of this, which is untethering our minds, right? So we spend a lot of time in our regular life with our mind running in the same circles that it always runs, right? That's what Carolina was saying, is once you've had an experience once, is you tend to run through it over and over and over again, right? Repetitively. So we spend a lot of time doing that. And then we come to yoga, or we come to a spiritual practice, and we're basically told to create new patterns, to create new habits, and to get your mind running in those circles over and over and over again, right? We don't always remember to look for the experience of the mind being untethered, right? So literally not running in any of those circles, literally not running at all, right? So the opportunity to experience that state where your mind is not running, it's not running to something, it's not running from something, there's no story behind it, right? Is that's an experience that can bring us very quickly into that state of peace, because we're no longer then trying to uphold any particular story, not the story of what our life is regularly, what we're stressed about or looking forward to or unhappy about or whatever. And we're also not trying to uphold that spiritual version of our life, of what we should be thinking about and what we shouldn't be thinking about. And are we doing the right things? Are we not doing the right things? And is this what I'm supposed to be feeling in meditation? All of that. So this is a great time of year because things are dying, right? This is a great time of year because things are dissolving, things are falling, right? That's the nature of this time of year, to start letting your mind become untethered, right? It's a great time to start deciding that you can have those moments where your mind doesn't chase anything and you get to just experience what's there in between, right? So that is my thought for you, is to be looking for the experience of untethering your mind, not chasing any particular story, and just seeing what that feels like, right? No attempt to try to be more proactive, more spiritual, more good, more anything, right? Just stop for a second, untether. A comfortable seat if you're not there already, and let the eyes close. Right? I've been contemplating a lot that concept of, again, the peaceful place inside, because these are turbulent times. And so our definition of that peaceful place, or the experience of that peaceful place, can't stay the same that it was yesterday. It can't stay the same that it was a year ago. That peaceful place inside, our awareness of it has to continuously evolve, has to continuously renew itself. So for a moment, untether your mind. See what happens. The mind's still going to run, right? It's going to be like, the spinning top. Whatever momentum it has, it's still running. But just watch it for a moment. Don't follow it. The more you can be aware of yourself watching, and you start to have that tiny bit of separation from the thoughts themselves. And in that tiny bit of separation, maybe you take a deeper breath. You're just here. Your whole practice today is to let the mind be untethered. Let it run where it wants to run. Don't try to corral it. Don't follow it. Even if it's running somewhere crazy, be aware, okay, my mind's running. And here I am in down dog. Here I am with this breath. One more deep breath in, letting the mind be like a balloon on a string. Or even better, not even on a string. And then bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. We'll open with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Let the eyes open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. Come forward to hands and knees. Good. And just start to move in some cat and cow, inhaling, lifting through the front of the body, through the chest, through the pelvis on the inhale, exhaling, curling and rounding. Good. You sit and you contemplate what you want to teach on or what you're being inspired by. And when you come up with feeling like you're being inspired by being tired of being told what to do, that's what you end up with, right? That's what we do all day. We're just telling the mind what to do. Don't do this. Yes, do this. Don't do that. Yes, but not now. And we wonder why we feel like we can't get out of that feeling of running. We can't get out of that feeling of the mind being so over encumbered. If our spiritual practice is adding to that, telling us, well, you really should just be doing this. It's just another story we tell. And they're good stories. And also untether your mind for a moment. Because the real teaching, the real understanding is there. It's not in the story that you tell about if you're doing a good job or a bad job. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Stretch your right arm out wide to the right. Slide that arm behind your left wrist. Right shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze. Take the left arm forward towards straight. And then extend that left leg back behind you. Toes tucked on the floor. Reach. Good. Yeah, try not to let the hip float open too high. Keep the pelvis facing down towards the floor, but extend through the leg. Extend through the armpit. Good. And then release and come back to center, please. Hands and knees. And go the other way. Take your left arm out and wide. Slide behind the right wrist. Left shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze. Walk the right arm forward. And then start to extend as you find your way there. Extend the right leg back. Good. And if extending the leg back doesn't feel good to you or it puts too much pressure on the neck or the shoulder, then keep the knee on the floor. No problem. But reach long. Good. And then bring yourself back up to hands and knees, please. Beautiful. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, come into downward facing dog. Good. Then come up on your tippy toes, please. Good. Bring your armpits forward towards plank, rounding into your back just a little bit. So pull up through your rib cage and then come forward towards plank. Good. And then lift your chest nice and high. Again, your armpits might even come forward beyond the tips of your fingers. That's awesome. Good. And then scoop the belly, lift your hips, come back to downward facing dog, pulling up through the ribs, through the pelvis. Relax the heels towards the floor. Do that one more time. Come up high on the balls of your feet, lift your hips, and then start to roll forward towards plank, rounding into the back of your rib cage. Last moment, lift your chest forward and up, squeeze those arms back. Good. And then lift the hips, press back downward facing dog. Nice. And then right foot steps forward between the hands, lunge. Good. Inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. Sorry, I forgot where I was for a second. I knew there was something I wanted to do. Take your arms out wide, letter T. Good. Twisting to your right, please. Reach the right arm back behind you, left arm forward. Turn your palms to face forward so your thumbs face up. Good. So you have that openness through the front of your shoulder joint. And then reach through your right arm a little further, like you're leaning your right rib cage back towards the wall behind you. Move it back in space and then send your right knee forward. Good. And widen that right knee a little bit. Nice. Beautiful. And then come back to center, arms to the sky. Inhale. Good. Take your torso forward, belly drops over that front thigh, torso parallels the floor. Pull your hips back in space. Nice. And then left hand touches down, right arm to the sky, spinal twist. That same feeling that you had doing the standing twist, find it here. Draw your ribs away from your thigh, draw your belly back. Good. And then release that right hand down to the floor, please. Beautiful. Take your right leg up and back down, dog split. Good. Keeping the legs straight, please. Stack the right hip on top of the left, so open. Yeah. And then pull your toes slightly forward. So towards the front of your pelvis. Yeah. And then open from the actual side of your hip a little bit more. So you're not pulling back just through the foot. You're actually stacking the right hip higher. Good. Letting the toes come slightly in so you're not overstretching the front of the thigh. Good. Scoop your belly, point those toes back down towards the floor. Awesome. And then bring the right foot forward one more time, forward to lunge. Walk your hands forward, step up, standing split. My words are getting ahead of my brain. Good. Nice, you guys. Bend that right knee, standing knee bends. And then lift that left thigh a little higher. Good. And then scooping the belly, take the right leg back to straight, push up and relax the spine, forehead down, chest down. Yes. Good. Release the left foot down alongside the right, standing forward fold, Uttanasana. Bend your knees, drop your sit bones low for chair. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. Weight onto that right foot, please. So you have to really engage that glute, wrap that glute muscle around your sit bones. So you're lifting your low belly, but you're contracting that right side butt cheek, and then float your left foot up off the floor. Yeah. Don't shift your weight super far to the right. Good. And then replace that foot, please, back to chair. Good. Come up to stand, straighten the legs. Beautiful. Deep breath. And then exhale, bend the knees again, drop back into the chair. This time taking the weight into your left foot. Again, contracting that left side glute, float your right foot up off of the floor. Again, trying to maintain that steadiness of equal weight. You're not pushing your hips to the side, but you're engaging the top of that right thigh to pull up, right low belly to pull up. Good. Release that foot down. Nice, Ronnie. Good, Harriet. Fingertips to the floor, straighten the legs and bow. I know, now you're awake. Now you're warm. Stretch your right leg back behind you, please. Step the right leg back. Inhale the arms to the sky, high lunge. Good. Arms go wide to letter T and then twisting to your left. Left hand comes back, right hand comes forward. Turn your palms to face forward so your thumbs face up. So really open through the chest, then pull through your left arm more. So shift your left rib cage back in space towards the wall behind you, towards the back foot. Good. So I should see your right side body get a little taller. So Kristen, pull back a little more. Nice. Sarah, pull back a little more. Mark, pull back a little more. There you go. Good. And then take the torso forward again. Stretch the arms up alongside the ears. Nice job. And then release the hands down to the, torso parallel to the floor, not all the way down, straight out. Good. Lift that back thigh a little higher. I know. Sorry, Kim, you got it. Good. And then right hand touches down, left arm to the sky, spinal twist. But that same feeling that you are holding yourself from that central core, ribs draw back, belly draws back. Harriet, don't let that left knee fall wide. Keep it right over second toe. Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Shoot your right hip wider to the right. There you go. Good. Release that hand down to the floor. Nice, you guys. And then swing that left leg up and back, down dog split. Good. Keeping the legs straight, stack the left hip on top of the right. So open the pelvis. Keep your shoulders level with the floor though. So keep that left armpit rotating down. Keep your right armpit lifting up. Good. And then bring your toes slightly forward towards the front of your pelvis, but lift the top of your hip higher. Good. Just straighten the leg, Kim, that's in the air. Good. And then scoop your belly, turn your toes down towards the floor, level your pelvis with the floor, or square your pelvis to the floor. Awesome. And then step that left foot between the hands, lunge, walk the fingertips straight ahead, step up, standing split. Good. Right leg parallel to the floor or higher. Nice. Bend your standing knee, left knee bends. As that knee bends, make sure the knee is still pointing towards second toe. You're drawing the top of that thigh crease back. Good. Kick that right thigh higher. So again, I want you to get into the power of your hamstring, your glutes, your back. Nice. And then straighten the left leg, dropping the chest as you kick that right thigh even higher. Good. Toes pointing down, Lauren. Hip pointing down, right hip down. Good. And then step that right foot alongside your left, standing forward fold. Beautiful. Bend your knees, drop your sit bones low, take the arms up alongside the ears, chair. Utkatasana. Sometimes translated as fierce, sometimes simply translated as awkward. Hands to heart center, please. Prayer twist, right elbow to the outside of your left knee. Yeah, that's to your left. Good. And you're pressing the knee wide into the elbow. Beautiful. Take your gaze down towards the floor. Weight onto that left foot. Step your right leg back to a high lunge. Still in your twist. There you go. Yep. Awesome, you guys. And then take your gaze back towards the sky. Aha. Beautiful. And then come back to high lunge. Inhale the arms up to the sky. That was a good guess, Ronnie, that I was going to come back to chair. Almost. Take the hands back behind you. Interlace the fingers. Deep breath in. Exhale, bow forward. Chest inside that front knee. Take the arms up and over any amount. Good. Keep working that left butt cheek back and in, you guys. Squeeze the feet towards each other. Nice. I'm in a glute kind of mood, so make sure you use your butt. Release the hands down to the floor. Awesome. Step back, downward facing dog. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Beautiful. Squeeze the hands and the feet towards each other. Again, keeping that roundness, that lift from your lower ribs. Float your right toes up off the floor. I know, without letting your armpits slide back. That's it. Chest up. That's it. Thank you, Nancy. Good. Release that foot back down to plank. I didn't say down dog. Left toes up, please. Good. Hug those armpits and chest up, head up. If you drop your head, it's a lot more weight. Good. Release that foot. Lift the hips, downward facing dog. Deep breath in. And then drop the knees to the floor, child's pose. All right. All right. Is your mind still running or is it starting to settle? It's just curiosity. Right? Part of the physical practice is being so in tune with the breath, with the movements, that the mind runs where it runs, but it no longer is tied to the story. It's no longer tied to what it thinks is coming next. That's how we want to practice. We want to practice being in that state of not being tied to what comes next. So untether your mind. Don't anticipate this is how I'm going to feel tomorrow because this is how I felt today. This is how I'm going to feel when this happens because I already know. Untether your mind so that what naturally arises, arises. And then you work with that. You live with that. Walk yourself back up to hands and knees. Downward facing dog. Good. Looking forward between the hands, step or jump your feet to the top of your mat. Standing forward fold. Good. Feet underneath the hips, bend your knees, drop your seat, take the arms up alongside the ears for chair. Hands to heart center. Prayer twist, left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Good. Again, working from that central core. Draw your ribs back, draw your belly back away from your thighs. You got to work your glutes here, not just your quads. Good. I want your butt to be engaged. Look down at the floor. Weight is onto that right foot. Step your left leg back. Nice long lunge. Still in the prayer twist if you can. Awesome. Really good, Susan. Nice, Sarah. You got it. Good, you guys. Come back to center, please. Inhale the arms up to the sky. High lunge. And then hands back behind you. Interlace the fingers at the low spine. Deep breath in. Exhale, bow forward inside the front thigh. I know it's a lot of balancing lunge stuff because I want your quads, I want your hamstrings, I want your glutes to work. And I want you to have to coordinate them. Good. Nice, you guys. And then release the hands down to the floor, please. Beautiful. Step back, downward facing dog. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but oh well. Good. Slide forward to plank pose, upward push-up. Nice. Lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Rise up, cobra, lift head, neck, and chest. Awesome. and downward facing dog. Good. Right leg comes up and back, down, dog split. Good. Start to walk your hands back towards your left foot, coming into standing split. Awesome. Toes continue to point down towards the floor. Nice, you guys. One more deep breath. Maybe bend that standing knee again. As you bend the standing knee, you kick that right thigh higher. Scoop your belly and then straighten the standing leg. Good. And then walk the hands back forward towards down dog split. Nice. And then why not take it forward more so your armpits come over your wrist. Keep that right leg lifted, but drop it in line with your hip for a one-legged plank. Wow. Awesome. And then take it up and back, down dog split. Oh, yeah. Good, you guys. Right foot steps forward between the hands. Good. Drop the back heel. Baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up. Warrior two. Good. Sort of my favorite, to think about that if you knew what I was planning on any given day, if you would show up for class or not. Drop that left hand down the back thigh, right palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. And if you tried to read my mind to know what I was planning on any given day, how frustrating it would be when whatever I thought I was going to teach is not what I end up teaching. Come back to center, warrior two. Good. Straighten the front thigh, please. Good. Come up on the heel of the front foot. Yeah, so both legs straight, come up on the heel, squeeze the legs towards each other, and then come into triangle this way if you can. Extend that right rib cage forward, and then start to bring that right hand down towards the front leg. Again, you got to be careful if you're putting weight there. Front leg, floor, or block. Left arm up. Good. And then once you find that, let that right foot come back down to the floor, but keep that squeeze, that drawing up of the legs. Nice. And then reach the left arm over the ear, please. As you reach the left arm over your ear, round into that left rib cage. So push up through your left ribs, push up through your left hip. Good. Nice, you guys. And then bend the right knee, coming into side angle there. If you need to slide that right hand up onto the thigh or onto a block, go ahead and do that. Good, but still rounding up through that left rib cage, rounding up through that left hip, so you keep weight in that back foot. Awesome. And then come all the way back up to warrior two. Words you never want to hear. Straighten the front thigh. Good. Turn the toes same direction as the left. Parallel your feet to the short edges of your mat. Take your hands back behind you. Interlace the fingers. Deep breath in. Hug those upper arms and then bow forward. Stretch the arms up and over any amount. Watch that you don't lock your knees. That means let your weight fall forward towards the balls of your feet. Let your shins come forward and then press into your heels, but don't lock your knees. Nice. Let your mind go. Untethered. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice, you guys. Take a breath, drop the chest, hang. Yeah. Like we hear the cue words. Take a deep breath. Okay. Meditate. Okay. Clear my mind. You have to actually really practice this untethering because that's most of our work in a spiritual practice. It's not the things that we do. It's those moments of untethering from what we're used to. Let yourself start to walk back towards the top of your mat. Turn the right toes forward, spin the left heel up, step back, downward facing dog. Good. Bend your knees. Cat cow. Like I thought this was going to be a rest. Nope. Untether yourself from what comes next. Good. Come back to stillness, please. Lift the hips, soften the heels, and feel your weight settle towards your feet, settle towards your hands. Long spine. Good. Left leg comes up and back, down dog split. Start to walk your hands back towards your right foot, coming into standing split. Good, so you gotta walk back all the way until that right heel finds the floor. Those are the rules, or until you have furniture that's in the way. Good. And then make it a full standing split where you're getting as close to that standing foot as you can, just like you would be if you had come into it the other way. Good, bend your right knee, standing knee. Kick that left leg higher. So good if you're using the wall. Good job. Nice, Alice. Nice, Laura. Good job, Joanne. Good. And then press that standing leg back to straight. Awesome. And then walk your hands forward. Keep the strength in that lifted leg. So as you walk your hands forward back to down dog split, that you're not working with a dead weight up there. And then bring your chest forward even more, armpits over your wrist. Bring the left leg down in line with your hip, one-legged plank. Armpits forward, pull forward, head up, throat up, mind up. Good. And then back and up, down dog split. Awesome, you guys. Nice. Step the left foot between the hands, lunge. Back heel comes flat, baby toe parallels back of your mat, cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Good. Can you pull through your right rib cage a little more? Yeah, move your ribs towards the back foot. That's it. And then send your left knee forward a little more. There you go. Now drop the right hand down the back thigh, left palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. So we want to move the rib cage back in space first so that when we come into this side stretch, that we have the maximum amount of space available to actually breathe into. If we don't do that, then we're just breathing into the same amount of space that we usually have, and we wonder why our capacity for breath or stretch or whatever is not changing. Come back to center, arms wide. Good, straighten the front leg. Squeeze the feet towards each other, come up on your front heel. Good, so lift the toes. Yeah, and then reach for triangle, left rib cage extends. Nice, and then left hand touches down, front leg, floor or block. Again, if you're placing the hand on the leg, just be careful because with that foot lifted, it's not the same place to be adding weight to. Good, and then let that foot come back to flat, please, but keep that squeeze of the legs lifting up. Awesome. Right, whatever you feel this moment, whatever is passing through your mind is passing. If you don't hang on to it, it will change in the next breath. Maybe it'll seem minute changes, but it changes. Right arm comes over the ear, reach. And then really round up through your right rib cage, round up through your right hip, push up. Good. Don't let that arm hang. Keep it up, Lauren. Keep it up, Mark. Good. And then bend that left knee, come into side angle. Again, you can slide the left arm up onto the left thigh if you need or onto a block. Awesome. Round the ribs, lift up through that right hip. Good. And then all the way back up to warrior two. Ay, ay, ay. Straighten the front leg. Turn your toes, parallel your feet to the short edges of your mat. Reach behind you, hold opposite elbows or interlace the fingers again, either one. Deep breath in, bow forward, taking the arms up and over if you'd like, or if you're holding opposite elbows, keep expanding your rib cage into your arms. Nice, you guys. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Awesome. Take a moment to just hang. Let your weight drop. Good. And then walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. Turn the left toes forward, spin the right heel up, step back, downward facing dog. Slide forward to plank pose, lower down slow, coming through knees first if you need. Rising up into cobra, pointing the toes, lift up. Nice lion's breath, Sarah. And then back to, coming back to child's pose. So if you want to come through down dog first, you're welcome to do that, or you can press up to hands and knees and just take the hips back to the heels. We'll find your way back, child's pose. So I used to say that part of this practice, or what can be part of this practice, is that you almost exhaust. You exhaust your mind's ability to try to guess what's coming next, or to try to keep pace with whatever you're doing. Vinyasa can be like that when we're moving very fast. You exhaust the ego's attempt to tell you who you have to be the next moment. I don't know so much now if it's that we're trying to exhaust ourselves. I think we're just trying to let go of the idea altogether. So when you untether your mind and you suddenly become aware of all of what is there beyond the story, and suddenly you have options, you have choices. The future is not written. You are not whatever you think you are right now forever. Come back up to hands and knees, please. Come to sit on your butt. Take your legs out in front of you. Good. Feet to the floor in front of you. Bend your knees. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Yep, seated. Right ankle over left thigh, hands behind you, and then lift your belly, lift your chest up towards the crossed legs. Make sure you flex that foot a lot. Good. If this doesn't feel like it's enough sensation, left heel comes closer in towards your butt. Closer you bring that bottom foot towards your butt. Again, without leaning back behind your sit bones, you got to stay forward to the front edge of those sit bones for this to work. But the more you draw that left heel in, it's going to increase that stretch through your hips and your thighs. Good. Yeah, use your hands to push the floor away. Sit tall. Nice. In almost no way should this be comfortable. So, so if you're comfortable, we'll have to talk about that. I'm just kidding. You could be comfortable here, but it's a pretty big stretch. Good. One more breath, maybe pull that left heel a little closer, maybe lift just a little taller. Remind yourself that what you think is your absolute limit a moment ago is maybe not your absolute limit now. And then slowly release, please. Extend that left leg straight out in front of you. Bring that right shin up into baby cradle. So you're holding the foot with your left hand, you're holding the knee with your right hand. Rock from side to side. Good. Then you're going to start to bring that right knee nice and wide and try and bring it up over the right shoulder. So you're trying to really move it back and wide. Bring the right arm inside the knee. Yep. So it's like you're trying to lift that right knee up onto your right shoulder. Take your right hand down to the floor though. Yep. And you're going to squeeze that knee around your upper arm and then see if you can hold that there. So the knee is just squeezing around your upper arm. And then you're bringing your left hand down to the floor as well. So your knee is hooked over your upper arm. Yep. Hands to the floor. Good. Bend those elbows a little bit. You can lean your chest forward, hug those upper arms. So it's like you're doing a one-legged forward fold. And then see if you can scoop your belly, lift your butt. What? Yep. Lean forward a little bit, scoop your belly, lift your butt. You got it. Uh-huh. Nice, Alice. Awesome. And then slowly release. Come on down. Good. Unwind that leg. Cross it over your left thigh, right foot over left thigh. Wrap your left arm around the right knee. Right hand comes back behind you. Spinal twist. Yeah, so it's a little preparation for an arm balance. Also words no one ever wants to hear. Just kidding. I always get excited when someone says an arm balance is coming. Good. Slowly unwind, come back to center, please. Stretch the legs out in front of you. Give them a little shake. Awesome. And then bend both knees, plant your feet. Left ankle comes on top of right thigh. Hands behind you. And again, you're lifting as tall as you can towards the front edge of your sit bone. So if you start out already tucking your tail under or falling behind onto the fleshy part of your butt, you're going to miss the length of your lower back. So you got to Wiggle those sit bones back. Good. And then again, you control how intense it is by moving that right heel closer in towards your butt. Flex your feet. Good. It's like a seated pigeon variation. I don't know. I don't have a name for it. But untether your mind. Again, once the story's been told, you know what we did on the first side. Now your brain's like, oh, crap. I got to do this on the second side. Maybe in your mind, you're like, it's going to be too hard, or I don't like it, or blah, 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 whatever you thought about it. Untether your mind. What if this was the first day of your new favorite skill? A year from now or a couple weeks from now, if you really worked at perfecting this pose and you got into it, the first day you get into it, you'd be like, yes. You go back to that first moment and say, was it worth it? Those feelings of, I'm not sure I can do this. I don't like my limits, blah, 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 whatever you thought. Untether yourself from what comes next. Maybe get a little deeper in, bring that right heel back in, lift your chest. Good. And then slowly begin to unwind, extend the right leg straight out in front of you. Bring that left shin up into baby cradle. So again, you're holding the knee in your left hand, hand and foot in your right hand, and you are just rocking from side to side. So again, you're looking for that mobility in the hip. So be serious about it. You're actually moving from side to side. You're actually maybe circling the knee a little bit in the hip socket, the thigh in the hip socket. Good. And then start to really work that knee back towards your armpit, back towards your shoulder. And you're bringing that left arm inside the knee, taking that knee nice and high. Your butt can even come up off of the floor. That left butt cheek can come up off the floor. And then left hand down to the floor. You're hooking the knee around the upper arm and squeezing so it'll stay there. Good. And then right hand comes to the floor outside your right hip. Lean slightly forward. Bend your elbows like you're doing a little push-up. You got it, Joanne. Just plant both hands. Good. And then squeeze those arms towards each other. Scoop your belly. Push into the hands. Scoop into your belly. Lift your butt. Yeah. Nice. Good, Kim. Nice. You got it, Mark. You can do this. Come on. There it is. Yep, a little bit. Awesome. Nice, Alice. Nice smile, Sarah. And then slowly release. Come on out. Unwind that leg. Good. Cross your left foot over your right thigh. Right arm wraps around the front of your knee. Take your left hand behind you. Spinal twist. However that went. Good. We like to say that the universe is infinitely more creative than we are. So in our minds, we're already writing the story of what's coming next. And so we ignore what's actually presented to us, the other opportunities. Good. Unwind yourself, please. Stretch the legs straight out in front of you. Good. Flex the feet, arms to the sky. Yeah. Bow forward, please. Paschimottanasana. And then if you can come forward enough where you can hold your feet, I want you to wrap your hands around the baby toe edges of your feet and pull those baby toes back. So you're pulling the baby toes wide and then push through the big toe mounds of your feet. So it's like you're trying to bring all 10 toes or all 10 mounds of your toes into the same line. So baby toes pull back, big toes push slightly forward. Yeah, generally you'll feel that that creates more sensation on the outer edges of the legs when you do that. Awesome. Come all the way back up. Nice. Take the hands back behind you, fingers pointing towards your heels. Bring the feet together, legs together. Point your toes. You're coming into reverse plank. So bend your elbows slightly so that you lift your chest. And then again, you're scooping the belly. You're squeezing the legs together. You got to use your glutes, got to use your back. Lift your hips up off the floor. And just think, this is not so different from what I just asked you to do. I just asked you to do it with one leg wrapped around your shoulder. Yeah, you got it. It's like almost like a reverse. You bring your hips up into a slide. You got it, Kim. Good. If this really is not comfortable on shoulders or hips, bend the knees and plant the feet. Do the same thing. One more deep breath. Good. And then release the hips down to the floor. Nice job, you guys. Stretch your legs nice and wide. Moving much faster than usual, too. I just looked at the clock. I'm like, oh, we have so much time. Turn your belly towards your right thigh, please. I don't know if that's good or bad for you. Walk yourself straight ahead over that right leg. I think it's great for you. If you don't practice this way all the time, every once in a while, it's really good to move your mind past what it's used to. Awesome. Come all the way back up, please. Good. Come back to center for a moment just so you can resettle your pelvis, and then turn your belly towards the left over the left thigh, and then walk straight ahead, forward fold. Good. And then come back towards center, please. Come back up, hands straight ahead. Inhale the arms up to the sky, alongside your ears. Press down through the tops of your thighs. Feel like you're squeezing the feet towards each other, so you are already engaging the legs. Lift from your low belly. Start to bow forward. Keep your arms in line with your ears, so reach with your spine. Forward fold, legs wide. Keep dragging down with the heels. Pull your thighs up and in. Press your sit bones down and wide. Extend, 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 extend. Nice. And then let the hands touch down. Good. Let the spine relax. Nice, you guys. Deep breath in, untethering the mind from whatever you think is coming next. Instead, you get to just receive what comes next, experience what comes next. Remind yourself that whatever it is, it's passing. If it's the best thing that's ever happened to you, it's passing. If it's the worst thing that's ever happened to you, it's passing. Keep untethering. Walk yourself back up. Good. Bend your knees just a little bit. Yeah, take your hands forward in front of you. I want you to just sort of roll back and forth on your pelvis, because what I'd love for you to do is to come onto, bring your hands to the floor, scoop your belly, lift your butt. Yeah, plant the hands. Yep, nice and straight. Yep. And then lift your butt. Good. If you can do it with your legs straight, fantastic. Nice, Alice. Good. Like all the way up. Yep. And the funny thing is that I'm asking you to lift your butt. I'm not even telling you to lift your feet and your butt at the same time yet. That's the ultimate goal. But can you press into your hands, get that feeling of pushing down into your arms and engaging your chest like a push-up? And can you lift your butt? Yeah, you can use a little momentum. I don't mind. Yeah, it's hard. Good, Kim. Nice. You got it, Kristen. Good. Awesome. And then slowly release. Bring the legs towards each other, please. Bend the knees. Good. Finding your sit bones for boat pose. So if you're up on a blanket, maybe come down off of the blanket and then lift your shins parallel to the floor. Boat. Yeah. And then arms extend straight out. But as the arms extend, pull the shoulders in towards, or pull the arms into the shoulder socket so your chest lifts up nice and high. Awesome. Bend those knees, pull them in towards your chest, and pull your chest, your belly towards your thighs. Yeah. Pull your chest and belly towards your thighs. Pull your thighs towards your chest, towards your belly. You should be getting more vertical every time I say that. Good. And then release the feet to the floor. Bottoms of the feet together. Let your knees go wide. Baddha Konasana. Forward fold, your favorite way. You can hold the feet or walk the arms forward, whichever you like. Good. Whatever allows your shoulders to stay really relaxed. Whatever we think is on the other side of our practice, whatever we think is on the other side, untether yourself so that you can really experience what's right here. Because right here might be a lot closer to what you're looking for than you realize. Walk yourself back up, please. Good. Cross the ankles, please. Roll forward onto hands and knees. Good. Downward facing dog. More hip opening, because why not? Right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Bring the knee forward and wide pigeon pose. Right knee goes towards the right wrist. Sliding the left leg back. Good. As you set your pelvis, again, back hip spins slightly forward. Yeah. Then walk the hands forward, come down to rest on your forearms, blocks, whatever you'd like. It is a meditative practice to bring your attention to, we call the witness part of the mind. The ability to simply watch what is occurring without being caught in it, right? The analogy is given, right, that you can watch something on TV or you can watch a movie and you can feel yourself so involved in the reality of it that, your favorite character gets hurt and your breath stops, where you feel the pain of it and suddenly you're having this emotional reaction over a fictional reality. And so we're reminded that our mind is doing this all the time. It's invested in a story. It's invested in a reality that may or may not be 100% true, but we're feeling it. We feel it. We're locked into it. So when that movie ends and you come back to like, oh, I was just watching a movie, right? That awareness. It's what we call enlightenment. You come back to the awareness that, I was just watching this happen. That wasn't all that was going on. That's not the full picture. It's not the full reality. I untether myself. That's all we're doing. We just have a lot of complicated ways of trying to understand the story that we're in. And then many more complicated ways to try to get ourselves to step out of the story. Deep breath in. Deeper breath out. Relax your shoulders. There you go. Good. Walk yourself back up, please. Bend the left knee. Take your heel in towards your butt. Reach back. Right hand for the foot or the ankle. So a twisting quad stretch. And again, so you have a sense of that right hip continuing to draw back and that right sit bone continuing to drop down towards the floor as you lift through your left side body. Good. And then slowly release the leg, please. Nice job. Lift the back knee. Come back, downward facing dog. Nice. Pedal your feet. If you'd like a vinyasa, take one. Otherwise, we're coming into pigeon on the second side. So if you're doing the vinyasa, you're coming forward to plank, lowering down, rising up cobra, downward facing dog. Good. And then start to set up. Left leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Bring that knee forward and wide, pigeon pose. Sliding the right leg back. And again, we say sliding the right leg back so the pelvis moves towards the floor, but you still want to spin that right hip slightly forward so that you're not sending your hips out of alignment. Good. And then start to walk the hands forward, come to rest on your forearms or blocks or whatever it is that is going to support you. Practicing simply watching. And that's new for a lot of our mind's concepts and activities, right? Because we're used to being told that there's this right way your mind can be working or there's the wrong way your mind can be working. And there's the part where maybe you are able to just become aware of your mind. And just that concept that there is a you that is beyond your mind is liberating. So you untether yourself. And now the story that you were pretty sure was already told from the beginning to the end is now untold. It's unknown. One of my daughter's favorite books right now, it's called Scaredy Squirrel, about a squirrel that never leaves its tree until one day that it has to, because it's afraid of a bee, falls out of the tree into the unknown and realizes that it's not immediate death. So that moment when you realize that unknown is okay, unknown is liberating. That's the real practice, not can I get my mind to act this way versus that way. Good, walk yourself back up, please. Bend your back knee, reaching back, left hand for the foot or the ankle, twisting quad stretch. Yeah. Again, reaching for that thigh is a big deal. So try to lift those hip points and still you're trying to bring that left butt cheek down towards the floor. So you're still working that pelvis down. Good. Nice, Joanne. Just soften that right shoulder back. Good, Lisa. And then release the foot. Good job, you guys. That was nice, Kim, both hands. And then lift the back knee up. Come back downward facing dog. Good. Nice, you guys. Look forward between your hands, step or jump yourself to the top of your mat. Straighten the legs and bow. Good. Separate your feet as wide as your mat. Turn the feet out 45 degrees. Bend the knees, come down, squat. Good. And then stretch your arms up overhead. Reach. Yep. Widen those inner knees. Squeeze those glutes. Wow. Good. Yeah, look happy for a moment. Any one of you. Good job. And then release the hands to the floor. You feel better now, right? Come on down to your butts. Yeah, I know. You feel better. Fire log, please. You're going to take your right shin in front of you. You're going to stack your left shin on top. Good. So ankle to knee is the suggestion if that's available. If it's not available, then what did I say? Right shin on the bottom, then left shin in front of right, flexing the feet. Doesn't really matter, but one shin in front of the other, flexing the feet. Good. You can also have the foot into the knee crease instead of on top of the knee as well. Make sure you have props underneath the knee if it's lifted nice and high. Good. Try to keep your ankles at a nice neutral line. Yeah. Good. And then either here, hands behind you, just sit nice and tall, or if a forward fold is available, go ahead and fold forward. Good. Stay aware. The more intense things are, the more important it is that you are able to untether yourself from the emotional reaction that wants to bleed into the next moment, that wants to bleed into tomorrow. Stay untethered. Beautiful. Slowly release. Come all the way back up. Unwind your leg. So take that top leg out and wide first. So you release the knee, you release the hip, and then stretch the legs out in front of you. Feet as wide as your mat. Good. Forward fold, reaching for the ankles or the feet if you can. Yeah. Good. And then slowly release that. Come all the way back up. Finding fire log on the other side. So left shin comes on the bottom, right shin stacks on top. Or right shin in front of left if you are crossing the ankles. Make sure your feet are flexed either way. Good. And then again, either hands behind you, sitting up nice and tall, or if forward folding is available, go ahead and fold forward. Good. Notice the way both sides of your lower back are breathing. Notice the way both sides of your shoulders are breathing. Right, we start to do hip opening and it starts to make us conscious of the position of our sacrum. Makes us conscious of the connection of our sacrum to our ribs. Of our shoulders to our ribs. So if that awareness opens up and we choose to pay no attention to it, our stories don't change, even though the awareness is there. So untether yourself, become conscious of right now. Where can you breathe a little softer, a little deeper? And then walk yourself back up, please. Unwind, draw that top knee nice and wide first. Stretch the legs straight out in front of you. Good. Again, feet as wide as your mat or as the edges of your mat. Forward fold, reaching for the ankles or the feet if you can. Yeah, and press those heels down. You press the heels down and you feel that you are dragging the legs up into the hip socket. Then as you lean forward with your pelvis, you tilt forward with your pelvis, you get a little bit more kind of functional activity in your hips. Good. And then slowly release, please, coming all the way back. Bring the legs towards each other. Bend your knees, find your way onto your backs. Good. Stretch your legs straight up to the sky. If you want to put a block underneath your seat, if you have one, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, legs straight up to the sky. I was very tempted to have you do one more arm balance before coming onto the floor. I'm going to have you fool around with Firefly, but there's a time and a place. And the purpose is not to exhaust yourself with options or variability. The purpose of this practice is to free yourself from that feeling of being trapped in whatever you feel traps you. Being in that constant state of the mind running. Couple more breaths, letting the low back settle onto the block, settle onto the floor. Relaxing your shoulders, relaxing through the back of your rib cage. Good. And then release the feet to the floor, please. If you're up on the block, take the block out from underneath you. Hips find the floor. Nice. And then plant your feet hip width apart. Arms alongside you, bend the elbows, robot arms. Good, pressing down, again, engaging those glutes. So not squeezing your butt towards your tailbone, but engaging each sides of the glutes and then lifting the hips up off of the floor, lifting through the rib cage, through the armpits, bridge pose. Good. Nice, and then take your right leg to the sky. Again, I'm in a glute kind of mood. Good, release that right foot down to the floor, take your left leg to the sky. Good, release it down to the floor, take your right leg to the sky. Good, release it down to the floor, left leg to the sky. Keep your arms engaged, don't panic. Release that foot down to the floor, right leg to the sky. Stay with your breath, engage the back. Release it down, left leg to the sky. Good, release it down, pause. And hips find the floor. Relax the arms. Maybe separate the feet and let the knees drop inward towards each other. Was that a lot of work? Yeah, it was. No? Was someone shaking their head no? I know. How do you decide what's a lot of work? Good. And then stretch the legs straight out in front of you, please. Bring the feet together, bring the thighs together, arms alongside you. Again, either back into robot arms or, because we're coming into fish, if you'd like to have the arms straight, palms facing down, bring those arms close to your side ribs. You can even slide your hands under your butt if you'd like, but root those legs down to the floor. This is important. Press your butt down, press the tops of your thighs down, and then start to arch through the upper spine. Lift the chest, lift your heart. Good. If your arms are straight alongside you, you can bend your elbows, pressing into the forearms, so that helps the lift of your chest. Crown of the head touches down to the floor, throat open. Good. Nice, Susan. Nice, Mark. Good, Kristen. Good. So Joanne, other way, butt on the floor, and just lift the chest into a back bend so the top of your head comes to the floor. There you go. Nice, Ronnie. Good, Harriet. Good, Laura. Good, you guys. Slowly release, please. Unwind. Release the arms from underneath you. Good. Draw the right knee in towards your chest. Good. Hold behind the thigh. Extend that heel straight up towards the sky. Good. And then bring that leg over to the left, please. Spinal twist with the leg straight if you can. If you need to bend the knee or it feels more appropriate to bend the knee, you can, but try to go for the straight leg stretch. Good. Reaching wide through your right rib cage. Arm can come up alongside the ear if the shoulder is very high off of the floor. Good. And you're still pulling that right thigh up at an angle towards your left shoulder. Nice. So you did a lot of glute work, so you got to stretch the glutes, stretch the thighs. Awesome. And then bring it back to center, bend the knee, come all the way back in. Send the right leg down to the floor, bring the left knee in. Hold behind your thigh, extend the left heel up towards the ceiling. Pressing the thigh back against your hand. So again, you're getting a full stretch on not just the back of your thigh, but the whole leg into your back. Good. And then come into spinal twist with the legs straight if you can, over to the right. And again, bending the knee is always an option. You can hold the foot or the ankle or behind the thigh. Good, that foot does not have to come to the floor as you come into the twist, does not have to. Good, left arm can come up over the ear if it needs. So the benefit of untethering, right? My story is not told. I can put my arms, my legs, my mind, my body, my life. I can move with it. I'm not locked into my suffering. That's what it means to be untethered. I'm not locked in. Good. Slowly bring it back to center, bending the knee, coming back. Good. Hug both knees in towards your chest. Squeeze in. Bring your forehead up to meet your knees. Hug. Good. And then release the shoulders back down. Scoot your hips to the left. Drop your knees to the right, this time stacked on top of each other. Good. Reaching wide through the left rib cage, arm wide or up alongside the ear. Nice. Bring the knees back to center, please. Scoot your hips over to the right. Drop the knees to the left. And then slowly release, coming back to center, please. Stretching the legs out in front of you. Finding your way into your Shavasana. Perfecting the practice of untethering yourself. Perfecting the practice of being in the here and now and knowing the here and now as a passing experience. Let your mind go where it goes and just witness. Very gently bring the awareness back to your breath, letting the body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. Taking a moment there before you begin to push the floor away, to come back to an upright seated position. Bringing the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. So there's a moment in this practice of untethering or undoing, stepping out of the story, however you want to call it. There's a moment that the more we do it, the more deeply we do it, is that it might feel like we're disappearing. It might feel like something's dying, right? Like watching the leaves fall off the trees, you're watching the world go to sleep. And so that moment of I'm disappearing is what the mind resists. It might turn around and say, I've got to keep this story because at least I know who I am. At least I know what's coming next. I can prepare. I can be in charge. But it is one of the truest ways that we keep that space inside fresh and alive and free, to keep untethering. Because as long as we're clinging to the story, then our future is already written. Our reactions are already done. Our suffering is written in stone. It's not going anywhere. So to really be reaching for that liberated space means we have to untether. And we have to do it over and over and over again, and get deeper with our awareness of what is there beyond what we already know has happened, what we already know we have felt. So practice untethering. It's a great time of year for it. It's always a great time of year for it. Leave yourself space that is quiet and forever new and free. Close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste, everybody. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your night, a great rest of your week until I see you again. You have to unmute yourself to talk to me.
Thank you.